the first time in a whole month I can breathe on air. Woo.
What's up, everybody? It's
Ladies and gentlemen,
us.
boys and girls, it's the Film Roast Podcast.
It is.
Live.
We are live streaming this. How crazy is that?
And I think, yeah, and you know what's amazing is I think we are kind of the ultimate pair in terms of the complete opposites you can do during lockdown.
Yes.
I'm unkempt to an unkempt degree, and you are too well taken care of.
Oh, no, it's just a shirt. It's just the Simpsons shirt that I've got. Pop culture. See that?
That's definitely what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's it. It's got nothing to do with the lights or the setup or the sound or anything.
Okay, hello, first of all, to Jordan's stream. Jog's so funny. How you doing?
Yay, we're good over here. How are you guys over at Scotty NSB?
Yes, we are good. So yes, for those listening at home, in the future, on the actual podcast, we are now streaming the podcast live on Twitch.
Also, shame on you for not being here live. You are no fans of mine, and I disown you. I disown all of you.
I would like to give them a slight little bit of reprieve that they didn't know that was happening until an hour ago.
That's true. That's on us.
We could have given you a bit more warning that this was going to happen.
We were going to, but then we forgot. And here we are.
We mean the person with the Twitter account.
Yes, that nefarious Twitter account holder who shall remain nameless and not on the stream at all.
And I'm not going to pronounce my own opinion on Twitter, the fact that I don't have a Twitter account, not to make it obvious at all.
Speaking of things that are forgotten, that we have forgotten to do the last couple of times we've recorded a podcast, is throw away to our theme song. Yeah. Scotty, do you have the file ready?
No, you're just going to do it on yours.
Oh, God damn it.
Anyway.
All right, fine.
I'm going to be dancing.
You're going to be dancing with no music, and I'm not going to do anything with the music. So here is our theme song.
Peel back the curtain, set the scene, bring out the film reels and ground coffee. Elizabeth Taylor, all sugar and spice, Rambo ripping heads off because he's not very nice. Robert Redford's running from the cops, Scarlett Johansson showing her acting chops. Sam L. Jackson got that fine diction, roasting everyone in Pulp Fiction. Doc and Marty escaping through time, playing chess with the Wookiee, put your life on the line. Thelma and Louise are driving coast to coast. Why is this important? It's time for a film roast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Film Roast Podcast.
Oh man, I'm so hyped. Oh, I really got into that.
You didn't even.
What's really great is watching yourself delayed do a dance move.
Yes.
It's so terrible.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
And you also lose. You want to kind of keep in sync, but it's difficult because you are already out of sync by the time you look at it.
I have no timing and no timing to go off.
Guys, what we're doing today / tonight / whatever time you are listening to this in the future is we like to talk about movies. And not just movies. We like to talk about everything that influences movies and is influenced by movies. And unfortunately, the last couple of months, we have been deprived of watching movies because we are, unfortunately, but safely, under lockdown here in the state of New South Wales, Australia. COVID lockdown, for those in the far future who have forgotten what COVID is.
Lucky you.
We are currently going through the throes of boredom, safe boredom. Don't get me wrong. I think this is a good thing, but I also think that COVID sucks and it's taken a lot from us, and everything from the more major things to the little things like entertainment. And I can't wait till we get out of lockdown and watch some movies again, Scotty.
Yes. Instead of having to watch the tragedies that are on the television, I want to watch tragedies on the big screen.
Deliberate tragedies, not accidental ones. Ones that are entertaining to watch and fun and not terrifying.
Ones that make you think about the past and change the future instead of thinking about why the present's.
Yes, exactly. And the present does suck, unfortunately. Usually everybody who gets a present is hoping for it to be good, but currently the present sucks. And so we look forward to the future where we can get out and hopefully get our butts into the cinema seats. That's one thing that I'm really looking forward to is just existing inside of a cinema and watching anything. I don't even care what it is. It could be literally anything. I don't care.
I remember us watching David Copperfield together.
Yes.
And it didn't matter what the movie was. We were lucky that we've got a good one. But that movie has kept me through this entire year, certainly because that was the first movie we saw again together.
Yeah, after the first lockdown. And now we're in another one. And I wonder which is going to be the first movie we see, like, back. You know what I mean? Like, back in person, back in the theater. Because unfortunately we have got a lot of films. I mean, fortunately we got a lot of films, but unfortunately a lot of them have been pushed back here in Australia because of COVID. Recently we found out that Dune's been pushed back, unfortunately, since it was originally supposed to be released.
And we're looking forward to that too. So.
Yes, very, very much looking forward to that movie.
Let's talk about the films. Shall we talk about the films in August? Because this is the August podcast.
Yes.
So we go through the films in August that we wanted to see, but can't.
Yes.
At the moment.
So, what ones did we miss?
Well, we missed a lot, but also not too much at the same time. It's like it's a handful. I think like put your hand in the grain of rice. You pick it up, and there's a few little special grains that come to the top, and those grains are Candyman.
Tell me about Candyman. It's the new. It was based on, or is it a sequel to the original? I think there was
it's
like
a direct
movies.
Sequel. Yeah. So the 1992 film of the same name.
Yes.
It's actually the fourth film in the Candyman film series.
Fourth film. Wow.
And it's a Clive Barker short story. I know you're a big fan of Clive Barker.
Yes. So. Yes. Old Clivey B. My man Clivey B. He is a bit hang out down by the local cafe and trade stories, you know. I gave him the idea for Candyman. I said, what if there's a guy who likes honey and has a sharp object that he kills people with? And
I'm pretty certain this short story came out before you were born. But
CB said, Jorgs? He gave me that nickname, by the way. He said, Jorgs, that is an amazing idea. I think I'm going to use it, if I may. And I said, go forth and use my idea. And do not credit me because I don't want anybody to know until now.
Okay, well, speaking of actual things that happened, the filming took place actually 2 years ago. It actually wrapped up filming in September 2019.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it like for a while.
Post-production has been taking quite a long time, and I think it was originally going to be released June 2020, and it's been pushed back longer. But I find it interesting that it was wrapped up in September 2019, and it still waited until June to come out.
Yeah,
because they could have pushed for the Halloween release, but I guess they wanted longer to go live.
But I feel like this past month, it's seen a lot more. It's interesting. I've seen a lot more horror releases, and I think it's partly due to Friday the 13th.
Yeah, we had a Friday the 13th.
We did here in Australia, at least. I'm not sure about in the States.
No, it's global, Jordan. That's how it works.
No, it's not. That's not how it works. We're obviously in a different time stream to everywhere else. I'm just saying we're in the future here in Australia. You guys are in the past everywhere else. It's just because we're better than everybody. But it's partially because Friday the 13th, and I think also because a lot of filmmakers just want to get their stuff out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I think with B movie, especially genre B movies,
yes,
like which I think horror is, and horror and action movies are sort of the pinnacle of B movies. They'll be coming to the front right now because they're the schlock. But good schlock. I don't mean schlock as a bad term.
Yeah,
the schlock that's coming from.
I think the thing with horror films is you can make a decent horror film on a shoestring budget. And it's also a really cool challenge, especially for some younger filmmakers, to go out of their way to make something that's on a shoestring budget with the confines of like a small budget, and try to make something that still resonates. And one of my favorite films that I actually did get to see this month was Till Death, which stars Megan Fox.
Oh.
And what's his name? Is it Karen Mulvey, Australian actor? And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Well, he's the guy with the scar that's in Captain America, who's like one of the cronies in Captain America.
Okay, yes, I know exactly who you're talking about now. That's weird. How
he was also in Australian.
He
was also in one of the last good Australian free-to-air procedural dramas called Rush back in the day, it's great. I met people who worked on Rush. I just want to throw that out there. Cool. I met some of the actors and some of the crew. Shout out to you guys.
Cool people.
Yes, they are.
I was a bit ambivalent on the show, but I appreciated what it was trying to do for an Australian show.
Yeah, speaking of which, another actor from that show is also on the Fear Street series films.
Yes, he is.
Based on R.L. Stein's couple of books that he wrote a while ago.
Slightly more adult ones.
Yes. 3 films, a trilogy, were released back-to-back across 3 weekends, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And
on Netflix.
Yes, on Netflix. So if you haven't checked them out, please go check them out because they are quite good. They're very good. They've got an all-star cast.
They scratched that horror itch.
Yes. They scratched the itch that is horror. Or the scab, I guess. The gross, messy, disgusting scab. But so those are I've only really watched horror films this month. Strangely,
weird.
Yeah.
I think we should kind of skate around it. And there are more movies to talk about, but I think we should talk about The Real World for a second, because The Real World in August of 2021 was a horror show.
That is a good segue. Not even trying to be funny. That's fantastic. That was really well done, Scotty. I'm proud of you.
Okay, thank you. Pat me on the back later.
Yes.
So it's weird to get real when we want to talk about movies, but I think we've mentioned the tragedy of what's going on, the situation, but what's taking place in Afghanistan, and I will talk to anyone about it because literally everyone is talking about it at my work or whenever I can have a chance to talk to a human being.
Yeah.
The amount of distress, because it was the Afghanistan takeover by the Taliban and the subsequent flights that were documented by BBC and CBS.
All of the major the major news.
Yeah, but I think those two were the ones that were getting all the footage to everyone else. I think.
Oh, hey, Pute Newt. Sorry, I just want to give a shout out to Pute Newt who just dropped by the chat. How's it going, dude? But continue.
We're
sorry.
A bit real right now.
Yes, we are getting real. But we don't want to forget the people who matter most to us.
I think yes, you're important, and it's because we care about people like you that when we see people falling from airplanes tragically to their deaths, it means so much more. Because, I mean, I just heard so many stories about people who got out that didn't. Like there was a 19-year-old soccer star was found dead.
Oh God!
Having fallen from a plane, and then there was this story about this female robotics team that had got out months ahead, planned to have all these intelligent female students fly to Qatar and then move on, I think, to Washington D.C. because they won an award, an international award for robotics. They got these people out. They were prepared.
Wow.
I think that's what's scary is people weren't surprised, like internationally at the heads, they weren't surprised when this happened.
Yeah,
they knew this could happen. This was always on the tables. And yet for the rest of us, it's shocking that the dominoes have fallen in such a way where there's this mass tragedy and there's all of a sudden so many refugees just going this way and that way all of a sudden.
And also just the death toll and stuff like that we've seen. Recently, the airport there was bombed, and
suicide bomber.
Yeah, suicide bomber, and the party responsible has said that they're going to do it again. And
for those who are the the Taliban taking over Afghanistan does not sort this problem for anyone who's curious. There is still large amounts of different groups interested in controlling everything.
Yeah.
There was an ISIS suicide bomber, for example, and ISIS itself is actually split up into a few factions, as far as I'm aware. And the Taliban has factions within themselves, although they seem to be getting along right now. So
yeah, it's very complicated. I once had an English teacher who honestly was the best English teacher I've ever had. Shout out to Mr. Norton. And he was British, and he came from he was in the British Armed Forces. He was in North Korea. Oh, the Korean the Korean war as a young lad. And he was also in Vietnam and stuff like that. And the stories that he had, because he knew people who had served in Afghanistan early on, very early on. I'm talking like
we're talking about 1960s.
Yeah, 1960s, 70s, and also in the 90s, just before like everything kind of imploded. And he had some interesting.
Should we do
stories?
Just a quick history before we get into that, because it's
yes, please do.
Because the war in Afghanistan is basically going on for hundreds of years. So Britain and Russia, during the colonizations, they were rushing to take territories off each other, and Afghanistan was the one they fought over. That's like 200 years ago. Then after the British left, they eventually leave. And during the Cold War periods, Afghanistan, for those who are aware, it used to be a very rich country. But because of different groups taking over from other regions, it lost its wealth. You can blame colonization for that. But then after that, the Cold War came. Basically, power slowly trickled away gradually from the area. But one thing that's maintained is there's been war, and there's been interest in its base resources, because it is a country with base resources. Yeah, that's basically Afghanistan in a nutshell. But there's always been war.
Yes,
and the people, for the majority, are really nice people.
And I think that, like, can you imagine if this happened, around like here, like how quickly and easily that things can just go south, and just the amount of people that have lost their lives and lost family members and stuff like that. It's just horrific. And this has been happening, for decades. It's not just something that has happened since, the early 2000s. It's been happening a lot longer than that. And it's so many, people and families and generations that have been locked in.
Do you want to snake your way back into your teacher's story?
Oh, no. Well, he just said, honestly, if America hadn't have intervened when they did, and done what they did in terms of, the
arming
arming certain people that shouldn't have been armed, the chances of that area stabilizing itself over time was a lot higher, in his opinion. And I'm not going to say that that's true or false. That's his experience. I just found it interesting that that's what he got from that experience.
One of the great ironies of the Cold War is that America supported the Taliban, whereas the communist nations supported the North Viet Cong. When you compared the Viet Cong to the South Vietnamese, they were actually far less corrupt. But when you compare the Taliban to the Russians invading, you could argue that the Russians would have done a better job. I mean, it's a very terrible argument to make.
It is. What's worse? It's what's worse. But yeah, this is kind of it's not really something that is new, but it is something that has kind of come back into the public awareness because of what's happened, because America pulled out, because it's been given these people free reign to basically hurt and maim and kill, and it sucks. It sucks.
The thing is, it's also been on our conscience a lot, this in Afghanistan in general, because I think it was 6 months ago now, we sat down and watched a movie that we missed. A really good movie that had come out, and it's available on Netflix still, which is The Breadwinner. It's an animated movie that is really good.
It's incredible. It captures, because it's made by a writer and director who lived and breathed that. She grew up there, and she knows what it's like to be a woman, especially in that area. And it's horrible. It's terrifying.
It captures social change.
It's so beautiful as well. Just because it captures social change, and it also captures this resilience that she and the people around her had.
And has storytelling support to that.
So if you haven't seen The Breadwinner, please go and see it. It's incredible. It's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure, across the globe. I'm pretty sure Netflix kind of has ownership of distribution. So it should be everywhere where you can get your hands on Netflix. So please do see that. It is very good.
Or try NordVPN.
Yes.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Or try Surfshark.
Or Pure VPN. Or what's the other one? There's many others. Nice VPN.
One of those services.
Sly VPN, Fox VPN. I don't know if any of these are real. I don't really care. But yes, do see these movies, because while I don't believe that films can influence people, I think they can resonate with people, and this one resonated with both of us. And it's a very powerful movie.
It's a good example for people who want to know what Afghanistan life is like. I think it's a period piece. It's talking about the past, but in many ways, in certain nations like Afghanistan, the past has maintained itself. So I think the story that it tells in that movie is still very important. What's going on in Afghanistan today?
Yes. With that in mind, do you want to give us a segue into the next topic that we're going to be talking about?
I was trying to let you do a segue. I always do the segues.
Yes, but you're good at it. I suck at segues.
I go on a quest, Jordan. I go on a quest. I call forth the green knight and do battle with him.
Oh God! See, that's what I'm talking about. That's that's one of your biggest strengths, is being able to work a segue into everyday conversation. And I'm not kidding. He does this even when we're not recording.
I have to do it, because otherwise the conversation remains morbid for like 20 minutes.
Yes.
It's like, I have to change the subject. Okay, what's something fun to talk about? Oh yes, The Simpsons. That'll do.
Yes. Like the shirt Jorgs is wearing. We shall talk. See, I can't do it. It's not good when I do it. It's terrible when I do it. So hit us with a segue and let's get out of this rut that we're in.
Well, we want to get out of rut. Last time we went out of rut. Who do we rely on? Dev Patel. Who do we rely on next time? Dev Patel. Dev Patel stars in The Green Knight. Sorry, that's a segue. That is a segue. That's how you do it, Jordan.
Amazing. I love it. It's incredible. And you realize that now I'm never going to do a segue. You're going to have to do them all. So I hope you're prepared for that.
The Green Knight is based on Sir Gawain and the Green Knight by Anonymous. It's a traditional story. It is a classic. It's directed and screenplay written by David Lowery, who we're a big fan of. He's an eclectic director, but he does really interesting movies.
I don't think he's ever done a bad movie. I recently saw his remake of Peace Dragon.
Yes.
Which was made me cry. It made me tear up a little bit. And he's just got this really great way of okay, Pewt, have fun with your housework. We'll see you around, dude.
Survive, mate, survive.
Yes, just survive. That's all we can do.
Keep on.
But he really is able to make a film that resonates across like a generational gap, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like
it does.
I could sit down with my niece and nephew-in-law and watch the film, and we would all get something out of it.
I mean, we put on. I remember I was watching Old Man and the Gun, and I was intending to leave in half an hour, and I was like, oh, screw it, I'm just going to stick around for the rest of the movie because this movie's just too good. He knows how to. It's a pure storytelling. I think that's what it is. He knows the characters. He knows the story that they fit into.
And he knows how to
well.
cast them as well. Like Robert Redford. Robert freaking Redford.
I mean, the thing is with Old Man and the Gun is it was a song to Robert Redford. The whole movie was
to
Robert
his
Redford
career. It was his career that it's like
Song.
it's an ode to his career, which is great. It's fantastic.
But it also was the perfect telling of that story as well.
Yeah.
The story of the bank robber, the gentleman bank robber. It was so well told. That's what was so incredible.
And
about
it's almost like it's a metaphor for his style of acting. We don't have a leading man like that anymore. We don't have
a leading man. The idea of a leading man has changed.
Yes, it has.
Incredibly since the 60s. And maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. But the gentleman, Robert Redford, don't see him any time. When he appeared in The Winter Soldier, one of the reasons I think he made such a good villain in that, and I know we're going completely off topic, is because he was so charismatic that you liked him.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was the villain made that more enjoyable, because I think with the first Captain America, you have these Nazi cliches. You have the scientist, you have the
you have Red Skull.
You
have Hitler, but with the Red Skull. You have
with the Winter Soldier,
all of the supernatural shit.
But with the Winter Soldier, you were allowed to have. It was we're the villains. We can be the villains.
Yeah, which
in terms of fascism in general is the story, and that's the story that Captain America continued to tell again and again.
Honestly, and I can't believe I'm putting this together now. But the whole idea of, like, if you line up all of the Captain America films one after the other, it is telling the story of past America and then modern day America in terms of internal fascism and, fighting for what's right, even though you're fighting against the people that you thought were friends and family, which is something that you can see politically in America right now. And for the last
Captain America
decade,
in the comics, self-aware enough to, we're war propaganda. How do we reconcile that? Okay, we make it about war propaganda. We make it about that question. And that's the story that we continue to tell. And then they modernized it in the movies. And I think that was clever. But David Lowery, he knew how to use those actors in the same way. And he knew how to get the right story out of his characters. So he probably do a really good Marvel movie.
Yeah, no, he definitely would.
Maybe like Edgar Wright, he would want a bit more control than maybe the story would be allowed to give.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to be fair, the level of filmmaking that he has right now, the amount of films that he's got on his resume, I would not be surprised if Marvel has approached him and he's turned it down already, just because of.
Well, he's waiting for the right story.
The way he is as a director is he is very much character driven. Like, he focuses heavily on character. And while some Marvel films are really good at that, that is not their main focus. Their focus is action and moving the plot forward, which it's not a criticism. That's exactly what they're really good at doing.
So the thing, I think the problem you could argue with Marvel movies is they are episodic. They continue to spin, whereas Larry creates a complete story. So to do both is actually quite hard. And when you find a great episode of The Simpsons that achieves that, well, there aren't any anymore.
I lament the loss of seasons 1 to 12. Well, not the loss. They're not lost. They're still there. But they were the peak of that. I mean, Homer's Enemy as an episode is a complete story from beginning to end, and it's about poor Frank Grimes, who hates Homer because Homer gets everything given to him, and Frank has had to work his ass off for it. And that episode alone by itself, let alone countless others, is just a perfect, complete story. And you don't get that very often in episodics anymore.
No.
Which
it's
is
very hard to do.
A shame. Yeah, it is. It's not easy.
I mean, one of the reasons I love Parks and Rec so much as a sitcom compared to others is that it achieved that. Its episodes, well, first of all, they're good comedies, but they can tell usually a complete story in a single episode. But also, they would keep the wheels turning.
Especially in their last 2 seasons, they did really well at being able to tell self-contained stories. but also showing that the characters were evolving and not staying in the same, in the same character place. Like Tom Haverford goes from being reckless and selfish into being somebody who actually has his finger on the pulse and can do the right thing. That's just one example of all the characters who evolved, and every single one of them did, and it was really, really well done.
And evolution is extremely important for character to the Green Knight, because this is a movie that's all about how one person changes and how one action they do at the start of the movie and how they continue to, how they aim to do it again at the end of the movie. Like, we haven't seen this movie and we're looking forward to watching it so much, because it's almost like the dot points of character arc in a story. And we're really looking forward to it. We also love the cast. It's got Joel Edgerton in it. It's got Dev Patel, as we already said. Alicia Vikander, big fan of hers. Sarita Chaudhry, you already said. John Harrison, Ralph. It's not a big cast, is it?
No, but it's a strong cast, and like I've always been a fan of Dev Patel. He is such an incredibly strong actor. Like he knows his stuff, and
I think what's good about Dev Patel is he can do a weak performance that's very strong, if that makes sense. He can play a weak character very well.
Yeah, well, he can play subdued very well. He just he can key into the emotions so easily and so believably that you're not watching a performance, you're watching a real human being on screen. And he's so good at that. He's so fantastic at that.
I think it was a couple of years ago I rewatched Slumdog Millionaire, and I was like, this movie wouldn't work without Dev Patel.
No.
Like, you could try putting 100 different actors in there, and I don't think they would make the movie work as well.
Yeah.
Because it's being able to do weakness appealingly. Because I think there are moments that he has to be weak in that movie, which are really important.
Yeah. Especially if you put like Chris Hemsworth in it. I don't think that would work. Well, mainly because he's white, but
and Australian
for other reasons as well.
Meanwhile,
also, I was just going to try to do a second. Also, you know what else is white? Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is in Free Guy. Boom, segue completed.
That a segue, Jordan?
It is. Segue? It's my segue. Well done. Yes, thank you. I'm really good at segues now.
Actually,
I've learned a lot.
I actually just watched Aussie Man Reviews interviewing Ryan Reynolds, and he makes him an honorary Australian because he passes the Aussie slang test.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty funny.
Interesting.
He guesses what fair dinkum means.
And he gets it right?
Yeah.
You sound disappointed. You sound a little upset.
No.
I don't need more upset. Australians. We've got enough Australians.
Yeah. Have too many. No, just kidding. I'm joking.
Yes. Free Guy. Tell me about Free Guy. All I know is Ryan Reynolds is basically playing himself, and he's an NPC that becomes self-aware about it in a video game that's sort of like Grand Theft Auto. Is that?
It's a bit GTA, yeah.
Is that about it? Or yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or a GTA ripoff, because there's so many of them. You don't realize how many there are until you start playing them. Like, that's a GTA ripoff. That's a GTA ripoff.
GTA kind of defined car mechanics, pun not intended, in video games, like, how you drive a car, how the car reacts inside the video game. They kind of pioneered a lot of that stuff.
Video games.
Yes.
And storytelling video games, because character arc and character progression was something that GTA original games did, and then other games took from it to a major degree. Other genres of games took from it. They didn't exist before GTA.
Yeah.
GTA did it right.
I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments that'll be like, no, they did it. I'll prove you're wrong. And they'll have some other game, but I don't care. We're like Rockstar were pioneers of the video game industry early on.
More than Activision.
Yes. Shade. It got shady in here real quick. Wow, look at that.
So the funny thing about listening to the Aussie Man Reviews interview with
Ryan Reynolds.
And Ryan Reynolds, and talking about the film in general, is how much fun he's had making it, because he realized this film for him was a realization that people in Hollywood actually just want to work together. They just want to make movies. and they just want to be in movies. He was able to get A-list actors just to do some bit parts. I mean, he did it with Deadpool too, with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, with Brad Pitt and a bunch of others as well. There was quite a few others. Blink and you miss it cameos. But yeah, like I think obviously in Hollywood, if you are a big name actor, there are some things that you just want to do. Like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. He wanted to be in that movie and he wanted to wear a fat suit. He wanted to have big prosthetic hands and he wanted to rap. Those were the things that he wanted to do. And Tropic Thunder, the guys behind Tropic Thunder said, please do. We want all of that. We will give you everything you need to do to make this happen. And honestly,
he wanted to be Eddie Murphy's bad side. That's what he wanted to be.
And it was perfect. It was absolutely incredible. It's probably one of my favorite roles that he has played aside from the Mission Impossible film series.
Let's talk about Maverick getting... We just talk about Maverick again? No,
oh, yes, Maverick, the film that's been postponed and delayed and moved around. And oh my God, I'm surprised it hasn't been cancelled because it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like
as well.
Yeah. And when is that coming out over here? Is that like December or something? November? Something like that. Probably not until we get out of lockdown, but yeah.
No, I think globally it's meant to be November, December. I just don't know if it's still that.
Yeah.
It's been, that's the thing. Films that were coming out 2 years ago have been delayed so long. Like when Black Widow finally came out 2 months ago, I was like, oh yeah, that was meant to come out April last year.
Yeah.
Like 2019. It's like, whoa. How'd that happen?
A while ago. And
you're pretty happy that Black Widow has actually proved a lot of people wrong, has made a lot of money.
Yes, well, I mean, there were conversations around when it first came out and people were calling it a box office bomb because it didn't make much at the box office. However, because of what it made in streaming, it has made a lot more money and it has done quite well for itself in terms of the streaming sphere. However, unfortunately, obviously, this is all tainted by the fact that Scarlett Johansson needs to sue them in order for Disney to actually keep up their end of the bargain. And we talked about this on the previous episode of the podcast, which I'm not going to go into here.
We don't want
to. So go back and listen to that if you want to hear all the deets and our opinions on that debacle.
The Film Rose podcast is on Spotify, Podbean, and all other excellent.
Yeah, all you have to do is just get up that search engine, type in Film Rose podcast, and we will be there or be square.
Our logo is pretty obvious.
Yes, it is. It's our faces.
Man, half glasses.
Yes, half man, half glasses.
We are two-faced.
I like that. Yes, yeah, that's what we are. But it sucks because we're kind of in limbo with how we release movies. Like, we want a lot of people in the public want to see them now. So streaming services on demand have stuff now, which is great-ish. Don't get me wrong.
It is.
However, the big thing with how a lot of these films have been delayed and are now coming out is that films like Dune, especially, they were promised, Denis Villeneuve was promised a theatrical release of the film. And then a couple of months into lockdown, and again, lockdown, understandable. Things need to change. Things need to move.
Things have changed.
But they had promised Denis Villeneuve a theatrical release in his contract. And now they are basically they were basically reneging on that, and all of the quality, all of the quality aside, all of the I want my film to be seen at this size screen at this quality because I filmed it for that. All of that aside, it's tough for people who have made something specifically for an audience in how they've made it to be seen. To be told no, it's not going to be seen that way. It sucks. It's like I don't know. It's like Michelangelo being told that he can't have this giant slab to work with. He's got to work with this pebble.
Or even worse, it's not working with stone; it's raw wood.
Yes, that's even better. That's even better. So all of that planning, all of those ideas, all of those, everything that he wanted to do with it is now kind of just thrown out, which sucks. And it's after he's already created it, which is even worse. So it's not an easy space to navigate in terms of being a filmmaker or a producer. So I don't envy being in that position, especially for a producer, having an angry artist who's, on your back about it.
I can understand everyone's
yes.
The whole scenario is a mess,
yes.
and I understand where everyone's coming from. It's one of those. It's like, yes, this is shit. This is terrible, but I get why everyone's making these decisions.
Yeah.
It's just the situation sucks. Sucks.
It has sucks. It has sucks.
You know what also sucked really badly?
What?
Suicide Squad. Man, that's a terrible movie.
Yes, it was. It was a trailer for a film that never happened, and it came out 7 years ago.
Yeah, James Gunn made one.
He did, and it came out.
And we haven't seen it yet.
A month ago-ish, or like within the last month. And no, we haven't seen it. We can't see it.
It is streaming on HBO Max, so we could technically see it.
Do we?
If we were.
We don't have HBO Max.
But there's this thing called ExpressVPN. So shocking.
With PureVPN at $49 a month, you too can stream from different continental areas to your computer by making them think that you're from somewhere else. I think VPNs are amazing. Yes, yeah. I think VPNs are amazing. But if you choose to have a VPN to watch HBO Max, you are still going to have to pay a subscription fee to HBO Max. That is also added on to whatever you've got, which is fair. It is fair. I agree. It is 100% fair, which is so unfortunate why they've geo-blocked so many of these wonderful things, services, and stuff like that to Australia. It sucks. But with VPNs, you too can have your cake. Have your cake and eat it too. See, I was about to do a fantastic last line, and you ruined it. You've ruined it. You absolutely ruined it. Stick to your segues. Stay in your lane. Be content with that, and let me do my thing.
You know what the audience really loves, Jordan?
What?
When I throw a terrible game at you out of nowhere.
Oh, okay. Yes, I remember that. Okay.
Within the next
what are we playing? Oh god.
Within the next minute, name as many cast members of the Suicide Squad and Suicide Squad. I'll take both of them as you can.
Okay. Margaret Robbie.
No.
Margaret Robbie. The wrestler guy that's really friendly. The shark guy that's really friendly. The polka dot man that's really friendly.
I need the names.
I'm giving you the names. Who else is in it? Idris Elba, the guy that I know from Thor. No, it's not from Thor. It's from somewhere else. It's from that BBC movie.
TikTok.
Don't TikTok me. I'll have you know.
Clip that, please. Clip that. Okay, continue.
I'm trying to think of who else is in it. Kinnaman. I know his last name. Joel Kinnaman. There you go. The sleepy rat lady.
Come on.
Don't come on me. I don't know her name. See,
clip that.
When I am excited about a film, I don't look
5,
into it.
4, 3.
I'm a 2-1. Yes, there you go.
You got 3.
So
you didn't get Viola Davis. You didn't get Sylvester Stallone, the shark guy. You didn't get John Cena.
Nope.
John freaking Cena. You didn't get David Desmond.
I've never seen him. I've never seen John Cena.
Really cool.
I've never seen John Cena. I don't know what he looks like.
Sometimes cameras are good, so it gets me. I can visibly.
It's almost like he comes out of nowhere.
Okay, yeah. Viola Davis. You didn't get Viola Davis.
Oh, she's in that. Oh wow, there you go.
Michael Rooker. He's not in it for long.
I don't. I'm telling you, if I'm interested in a movie, I ignore everything about it. Okay, every fucking thing.
I said I give you both movies. Will Smith.
I have. Okay, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I can't remember anything from the first Suicide Squad. Nothing. I don't remember. I don't remember Viola Davis. I don't remember who else was in it. Who was even there? Joel Kinnaman was. That's about it.
Yeah, and
Margaret Robbie.
Jai Courtney. Jai Courtney was there.
Who was he? Oh, the guy with the boomerang. The
He's been the same. He's in both movies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. See, I didn't know that. I don't know any of this because I heard that James Gunn was directing it, and that was 4 years ago. And as soon as I heard he was directing it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to ignore every single bit of information on the Suicide Squad from here on out. Because
they have such a lot. I'm kind of shocked. Such a large A-list cast. Couldn't name that many people.
What's something that you don't know anything about deliberately that I can ask you about and have you name like 10 to 20 things off the top of your head?
Yeah, but it's a movie that's coming out that we were talking about in the podcast.
Again, I'm telling you again, I don't do my research into films I want to see.
Okay. What we've learned from this is Jordan doesn't do his research into films he wants to see.
My research.
It reaches.
No, I don't do my research into certain films because I want to experience it completely for the very first time. So don't you ever remember when you were a kid knowing nothing about movies, being brought to the cinema by your parents to watch something that you know nothing about and being absolutely blown away by literally every aspect, from the people that you didn't think were going to be in it, the actors that you didn't think were going to be in it, to
actually about this too.
Everything. Like my biggest one was the Treasure Planet film that came out when I was a kid. Yes, the animation Treasure Planet. I was completely blown away by that, and one of the biggest reasons I think, and I've kept to this day, is I didn't know anything about it. I didn't ask to go see this movie. I didn't tell my parents, Mom, I want to go see this movie after seeing a trailer. I didn't see any trailers. Mum thought it would be a great kids film to watch, so she took me to the theater, sat down, watched it. Amazing, great. And
you're not the only one who said that about that movie either.
And but it's like it's part of the film of watching movies in the cinema is being allowed to go in without any expectation, without any preconceived ideas about what could happen. Like, one of the reasons why I didn't want to know anything about this movie before watching it is because the first one was so shit. I wanted to completely distance myself. I wanted to go in thinking this isn't a Suicide Squad film. It's got nothing to do with anything Suicide Squad related.
I can get that. I can understand why you've.
Yeah.
Still, there's so many people in that cast.
Again, I didn't look up the IMDb page.
Neither did I.
I didn't. Come on. I didn't look up the Wikipedia page. I didn't look up any of the cast list. Yeah. Oh, that's different, is it?
Yeah, because I did do that.
That's cheating. So you had access to the list.
Yeah, I had to.
Why?
Check you.
Why?
Check you as you're going.
Check him. What do you mean? Check me as they're going.
This incredible cast list, and there's so.
I think you're hyping this up a little bit too much. You know, I think I'm starting to think that this movie's going to be shit.
Maybe it is. I haven't seen it. There's some people in this movie that I'm really excited about. Like David Dasmalchian. He's a really funny guy.
What's he from?
Like he's done all these weird movies. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
Don't look. What's his first movie that he's ever been in?
It's going to be in June. First movie.
No, don't look. Don't look. Why are you looking? I said don't look.
Well, he's usually a side character. You recognize him as the guy they arrest in The Dark Knight, who's got when they're after the Joker. You know the guy in the crowd?
The guy that pretends to be. Does he pretend to be? He pretends to be the Joker, or he's like the what do you call it?
He's the henchman.
More than the henchman, he's the decoy. The decoy. Yeah. He's the decoy. That's it. But yeah, I don't see how you can fault me for not knowing the cast list without having seen anything.
I'm just saying that there's some interesting people in this movie that I'm kind of interested to see.
I'm happy for you.
what's her name? Danielle Melchior. She is a Portuguese actress, and this is like one of her biggest new movies, and she looks amazing.
That's one of the things that I've noticed from James Gunn is when he is casting his movies, like this happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, he goes out of his way, or he seems to go out of his way, to cast people who aren't really well known for certain large parts, which is cool. I like that. Also, Disney has a good habit of doing that. They kind of have this, well, not Disney, but Marvel have this habit of making sure that the cast is almost evenly balanced between really well-known people and not so well-known people. So you have like the Benedict Cumberbatches and also the Tom Hollands, inhabiting the same space. Because before Spider-Man, Tom Holland was not a household name, really.
No.
He was in a lot of things. He was in a lot of things. He was in an Ewan McGregor movie about the tsunamis in Bali.
That's the one. Yeah, there was one movie where I remember that was the one.
Yeah. He has been in quite a few, but Spider-Man was the big kind of whoa, like it was the thing that really made his career pop.
It was good casting.
It was good casting. It's fantastic casting. But I really like that. I really like that big film companies are going out of their way to hire an evenly distributed cast of well-knowns and unknowns. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for movies we're interested in that we missed out on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is sad.
Yeah, but we're just stuck inside.
You know what else is sad? The passing of a great comedian this month.
Yes. In fact, I've been addicted to watching clips of this said comedian for the last 2 weeks. Sort of in memoriam, but also just because he's really
He's a genius. You love him. You'll love to remember him. It is Sean Locke. And if you don't know who Sean Locke is, go right now and look up 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. Because
on YouTube.
Yes, on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube.
Channel 4, the British Channel 4 has official clips, but they are unofficial clips when you watch episodes anyway.
Yes. Here in Australia, you can watch full episodes either on Amazon or I think they have it on Binge. They have a few things on Binge. But yeah, a truly genius comedian who could do stand-up, who could do panel shows, who could do just comedy narrative shows. He did a show with is it BD Wong? Yeah, he did a show with BD Wong on BBC that ran for like 6 or 7 seasons, I think. Just about like these two flatmates who just didn't fit together in these apartments. And I haven't been able to watch it just because I don't think we have access to it.
No, it wasn't available until recently on Amazon. I don't think it was Australian Amazon.
Yeah. So yeah, and it really sucks because he's got so many iconic things like Carrot in a Box. Oh my God, Carrot in a Box.
Yeah. If you want to start with something to watch, go watch the Carrot in a Box clips because they are so funny.
And his interactions with Miles, his interactions with Joe Wilkinson, his interactions with John Richardson, just
Bill Bailey.
Oh my God, just professionals in every sense of the word that knew how to have the audience eating out of the palm of their hands. And Sean Locke was one of the best of them. I was actually really surprised when he passed away for obvious reasons because nobody really knew. But also because of how influential he actually was on so many well-known comedians.
The amount of outreach in terms of people being that were like, oh, I was inspired by him. And he has been doing comedy since the early 90s. So it's like a very long time. But at the same time, it's like, oh, non-British people have heard of him. I mean, we've heard of him. Yeah. But even then, it's like, I heard of him in Australia. I didn't hear about him in the UK. So I have 10 Cats Does Countdown is probably the big thing, but also QI maybe as well. He was in QI for a couple of years where he was a mainstay on QI. So British panel shows. And it's kind of funny. Like we were thinking about how you can do something so well in one format and it makes the format better because his comedy and panel shows is amazing. And yet panel shows themselves as a medium is like, you wouldn't think of it like that, but the panel shows he's on are great.
Yeah.
And then, but he's not the sort of comedian you go like, oh, he's going to be in a movie. Looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
He could do really well in a movie, but at the same time, you've seen Jimmy Carr in movies where he has to do certain things. It's not very good.
Yeah, I feel like Sean Locke is he's a person unto himself. He is a character unto himself. He isn't somebody that can be told what to do and say. In so much as he, you just stick him there and put a camera on him, and he is just Sean Locke. And I think that was one of the most valuable comedic assets that 8 out of 10 cats ever picked up was the Sean Locke. Just incredibly funny, incredibly witty, incredibly talented comedian who could do like so much with so little.
He had that knack of knowing when to be the straight guy and when to be the off the wall guy.
Yeah.
And he could deadpan off the wall comedy to such a degree. Like there's a intro he does.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where he's asked what his biggest achievements in life are. Of course, the first one he says is seal clubbing. But missing a beat. Perfectly stone-faced. Compared to everyone else around him who are not.
Yeah, no, they're laughing their asses off because it's ridiculous. Seal clubbing. Oh my god. And then he just talks about how he would, come off the boat with one in each hand and just just go crazy. Completely straight-faced. And then the Rear of the Year award that he won is it's comedy genius. It's
comedy
incredible.
Genius because its delivery is perfect. And it's not that easy to do.
No.
Delivering a joke perfectly is not easy to do. And delivery is everything on a joke.
Well, I mean, it's at least 95%. But like, just comedy is one of the hardest mediums of entertainment to do right. Like you can be unintentionally funny. You can, make a fool out of yourself without realizing it. But to be self-aware enough to utilize that to get laughs, it takes a lot more introspection than I think people realize.
You have to do it on the ball. You have to know where the line is constantly.
Yes.
How to jump across it, where just the correct level is for the audience. Because if he did it live, that's the other thing. It's like, this is live stand-up comedy he's doing, whether it's in the panel show or on stage. He's doing it in front of people on the moment. For other comedians, so many comedians have to be written. They have to be written. They can act, and they can act funny. But when it comes to being on stage, it's completely different. I mean, there aren't many people who do both well. I think Robin Williams, one reason we love him so much is he could do both well, but he'd do both well at the same time.
Yeah.
Like he'd deliver this amazing, well-written line perfectly, and then in the next scene, he'd do something abstract out of nowhere that perfectly fit the scene better than what was written.
Well, one of the most famous examples was when he was called in to do Aladdin. They animated around him. Like usually, if you're not familiar with how animated films work, they animate things first, and then the actors come in and do their lines to the animation to match it. They didn't do that with Robin Williams. They animated around him because he was ad-libbing. He was, doing these ridiculous bits that they couldn't have written down in a million years, and he was making them land and work, and it was hilarious. And so they decided, you know what? Fuck it. Let's animate around him because he's perfect just the way he is. And that kind of just insane wit and insane self-awareness and intelligence is very, very rare. And, Sean Locke had it. Robin Williams had it. There are plenty of other comedians that have that level of self-awareness. And one of them is Bo Burnham. And we have recently seen a new stand-up in quotation marks, comedy special, if you will, called
Netflix special
called Inside, which is on Netflix. And so is a couple of other stand-up shows that Bo Burnham has done. And you recently watched them all.
I watched all of them back to back. And I was really glad I did because kind of showed a natural progression from Bo as he was growing up, his opinions on things and how he was able to vocalize them. Because I feel like his art is just a splurge of his own inner thoughts put to music and comedy, of how he sees himself and how he sees his whiteness in the world and his place in it.
His identity, like how his identity reacts with the world and how the world reacts back to him. It's something that I feel like is so many people on Twitter and social media have just been amazed by Inside, which is fair enough. And a lot of them have also just identified with that struggle, which is such a universal struggle of finding your purpose and place, and whether your current purpose and place is where you should be. Because if you've watched Bo Burnham's Inside, he deals with a lot of that stuff, and it gets very, very, very deep and very depressing.
And what's funny about it, and I mean funny as in it's actually hilarious, is in doing that, he tells the perfect story for the environment that we're currently in, which is lockdown. It is trapped inside your room, in this room, these four walls, small environment. You are stuck in it. And he uses his own environment to express exactly how everyone else is feeling at the same time.
And he also explores not just like the prison of, his home, but he also explores the prison of self-identity in a way. And like, without trying to sound too pretentious about this,
it gets pretentious, but that's fine.
It does. But I mean, it's also self-aware pretentiousness where he actually says, you know what, this is ridiculous. Why are you watching this? Like, this is silly. I'm just one person and you're listening to me. This is crazy. And it gets intensely interesting. And I know a lot of it. And also it's just like, it is one guy doing this. He filmed it himself. He wrote all of the songs.
Did it all himself.
He is acting in it. As much as some people might, ask, is he okay? Yes, yes, no, but also yes. But he is putting on a performance in this to explore his, the darker side of his psyche, which is this, this ball of anxiety and depression that is Bo Burnham, and by extension is a lot of other people who identify with that.
Yeah, I think the other thing though is, like, when you watch it back to back with his other ones, there's a childishness to his early comedy, which makes it even funnier when he talks about adult stuff, which has disappeared from his new special. And it comes back again, but it's an adult doing a child, whereas it felt like a child doing an adult previously.
Yeah.
It had this weird change, and it made the tragedy of some of the topics funnier. Because I think it's the clownishness of you seeing a guy dressed up in a clown suit doing something wacky that might be scary for a lot of people, but the comedy aspect of it is it's wacko.
Yeah,
but it's wacko with ideas associated with it.
I mean, he also
lost a lot of those ideas,
but he also went through this big metamorphosis over the last 5 years, where he got to a point where he was having panic attacks on stage, doing stand-up, and he got to a point where he just didn't want to do it anymore because of that, and so he stepped away from doing stand-up and he focused more on doing film, and he made this fantastic movie, which I think it's on
8th grade.
I think it's on Netflix right now, called 8th Grade, and honestly, as far
I think
as
it's on YouTube as well.
Yes,
yeah.
But as far as even as first films go, or even if this was his like 5th or 6th movie that he ever made, incredibly well done. And then after that, he wanted to come back and do stand-up again because he felt like he was ready. And then COVID happened, and we're all in lockdown.
Yay!
So even when he wants to, do what he wants to do, he still can't do it. And that really, is something that he also explores inside.
You know who else have really wanted to do a bunch of stuff but haven't been able to do a bunch of stuff, Jordan?
Oh yes. Ben Kingsley.
True, Ben Kingsley has wanted to do a lot of stuff. We've also wanted to do a bunch of stuff. And you know what's funny? We're sort of getting to the streaming side of things now, and it's weird. It's great.
It is weird. It's strange. I love it, but I hate it. But I love it. Yes, we have. If you are not aware of what we have done, that makes it sound like we are criminals. I don't mean to say that we are criminals.
What have we
but
done?
Over the last couple of years,
what have we done?
Please not get so close. That's terrifying.
What have we done, John?
We have, over the past 2 years, we decided that we were going to try and put our creative efforts into making a radio comedy play, which has hit a bit of a snag because of COVID, because of lockdown.
Can't record in
But we saw an opportunity because we didn't have resources to make a TV show, because we didn't have resources to make it like a feature film. We decided, what do we have the resources for? Well, a couple of mics is not that expensive. A decent recording system is not that bad. What we'll do is we will make an audio comedy and we'll write and do all the voices ourselves. And so we did that. And
all of them.
Almost all of them until the most recent
episodes. Up until a point. Yeah, for a very long time, all of them. Including females, which we're glad we're not doing anymore.
Yeah. There was we were stepping on a lot of lines and toes there for a while. But it is called...
And making jokes about it.
The illogical, preposterous, pointless, absurd, and depressing misadventures of Detective Swag and Dr. Yeatley. And throughout exploring... There's a lot of mouthfuls. Throughout exploring... throughout exploring, these characters and doing this kind of stuff, we went down a lot of rabbit holes. And
a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Rabbit holes.
And we are now currently getting really close to finishing the season. And if you want to go back and listen, we have 6 episodes of the show on our podcast channel. So if you want to go back,
Jordan will be in about 5 minutes putting a link to it on his chat, and then he'll be sending it to me, and I'll put it in my chat.
But if it's something that we really love doing. At least I really love doing. It's just
I've loved it. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and we're getting really close to wrapping up the season. And I'm almost finished the last 3 episodes of this project. And so that's what we haven't been able to do, unfortunately, because of this lockdown, because of COVID. We haven't been able to stretch our creative muscles, and so we've turned to streaming to be able to see if we can scratch that itch, which is good.
Just to clarify, even though we are in the same state, we do live an hour away from each other as well.
Yeah, give or take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Enough of that. Stop that. But yes, it's not something that is ideal, this lockdown, to being able to record our lines. And we are going to be reaching out to other people as well to be involved in this, because the next 3 episodes are big. We've got a huge cast, a huge character list, rather, and we need cast to fill them. Voice actors.
We have some ideas for some of them. We know some of them.
We do know some of them. We are familiar with some of them. And so we are busy. I'm busy writing the final episode. And so we've got 3 episodes to record. And I'm currently on page 53 of, all of these episodes.
That's how much.
Yeah, this is huge. Yeah. So if any of you guys out there who feel creative and want to get on board the hype train for Eat and Swag, please drop us a line.
Tweet at Jordan.
Tweet at me, or just mention it in the comments, or send me a message on Twitch. Twitch works.
Send him a mail 3 months ago.
Send me a mail.
A letter in the mail.
That's what you meant. Yeah. And get in touch. Also, go back and listen to our stuff. Tell us how you feel about it, whether you hate it or love it, or
we may
feel nothing for it.
Readings of the original episode and other episodes live in the lead up to the release.
Yes. Almost like a table read, but just with us.
Yeah.
In a
one thing
really
that we're
sad.
actually
No, we'll try and get more people involved. Actually, it'd be good to have a full cast reading Eaton's-Wake.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can make that happen. But it is.
We might pre-record the narrator and have that to go off as well. Who knows? Because there are additional effects required for some characters.
Or if you know somebody with an interesting and amazing narration voice, please let us know. We can get them to come on board and help with this live reading.
Like Matt Berry, for example.
Yes, if you personally know Matt Berry or Morgan Freeman, please hook us up. Hook us up, because we would love to have a chat with them.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic.
It would be fantastic. But I think we've come to the end of this episode, Scotty.
Yes. We are streaming. For those who aren't aware, we are streaming. We're not just streaming the podcast, we are streaming other stuff as well. Together, we'll be doing a Pokemon Insurgents race where Jordan has a massive handicap.
And I'm still losing.
Well, yeah.
Oh, God, I'm terrible at this.
Jordan's currently streaming a variety of games, including Red Dead Redemption 2. I'll be streaming Pokemon Nuzlocke for the most part, although I'll be doing other stuff as well, maybe some Warzone, maybe some Total War games. Haven't decided exactly what we're doing yet, but we are streaming.
Yes, we do stream a lot. And please tune in to Scotty's stream, because he is a Nuzlocke beast. If you don't know what that is, tune into a stream and he will explain it to you in a very condescending way. Not in this environment. Not in this environment.
Oh, yeah. That'll be right at the top of the screen.
But thank you guys for tuning in, for those of you who have tuned in. We hope you have enjoyed our little chat, and we hope that, we have many more little chats in future. Little baby chats.
The podcast will be live in the future. We're planning to do more stuff with the podcast environment as we're streaming it as well.
Yes.
You guys, we haven't figured out all the details yet, but we will.
We never will, but we'll work our way through it. Like a blind man trying to make his way through the sewer. So are the days of our lives.
And with that amazing segue, end the stream. You're supposed to end the stream.
Oh, damn it.
In the middle of that.
You didn't tell me that. We didn't practice that. We didn't practice that. Stop.